Hi everybody. I was trying to do a live video from Sisters of the Streets page, but I don't think that it's as productive, as I don't think as many people see it on their feed as you do on my regular page. So I want to, like I said in the other video, I want to try to make this interactive because there are things that I am curious about, other people's opinions, and I never ever get on to give my opinion or my outlook to try to sway or convince anyone. I simply try to use my voice and my opinion and my experience to open up people's minds to possibly look at other options, or possibly look at it from another perspective, or possibly get some education on maybe something they were unaware of. So sex workers' rights is something that I don't normally touch on, just because the conversation goes left very quickly. A lot of times it gets very immature. A lot of times it gets very irritating. A lot of times it gets very repetitive. A lot of times it gets very just too much. So I just stay out of it, let people do what they do. But it's been coming up a lot. I think it's kind of a hot topic, especially with this whole Backpage thing happening lately, Trump being in office, just a lot of things, a lot of factors. And so I kind of want to touch on it a little bit and give you my opinion. And in return, I would like some feedback to know, maybe anyone who doesn't agree with me, to kind of understand where you're coming from as well. I kind of had a conversation about it with somebody last night, and so they triggered a couple of questions in my mind. So I'm going to start with sex workers' rights. Basically, in my mind, is basically asking to legalize prostitution. My whole thing with legalizing prostitution is why. Here's why I say that. Why do we need to legalize prostitution? The sex industry is not only prostitution. The sex industry is huge. The sex industry is stripping. You can be a webcam model. You can be an adult model. You can go work at the Playboy Mansion. You can go work at the Bunny Ranch. You can go work in a masseuse parlor or massage parlor. You can get a sugar daddy. You can, let's see, what else can you do? I'm pretty sure that you can be like a dominatrix, or, you know, like something like that. I'm not too positive on that. I'm not sure where the line is on that. But there's a lot of different options. Prostitution is the only one that's legal. The exchange for sex for money, that exchange is illegal. Therefore, with that act being illegal, guess what else happens because of that? The people who are selling women and profiting off of them, or selling men and profiting off of them, they are therefore committing an illegal act. So they get punished. The person buying it is committing a crime. So therefore they are being punished. If we legalize it, yes, there can still be regulations. Yes, there can still be, ways to not criminalize the women, but criminalize the traffickers and this and that. I don't think it would be very productive, but that's a whole nother story. If we decriminalize it, which is, I think, even worse than legalizing it, it's like it completely goes off the radar. So the buyers have, just as well as the girls are not getting prosecuted for prostituting themselves by choice, the buyers are not being charged as well, because guess what, once it's decriminalized or legalized, the people that are buying it are not worried about who is there by choice and who is there by force. So the whole understanding that I'm getting from people saying that they are for sex workers' rights, I'm kind of thinking, like, what rights don't you have? Healthcare? That was a big one that came up in my conversation yesterday. Healthcare? There's no healthcare. You have just as much right to healthcare in whatever industry you're in or whatever form of work you're in that anybody else does. they don't tell you you can't receive health care because you work as a sex worker or you work in the sex industry. And matter of fact, if you look on my page on Sisters of the Streets, there's a form of health care, health services, where if you pay $100 a month, if you choose to be an adult entertainer and you catch an STD or are unable to work and need to heal from that STD, mind you, of course you put your risk up, or your vulnerability up to get an STD because you are actively having unprotected sex with a lot of different partners. They will compensate you $2,500 a month until you're able to work again. Side note, do you know how hard it is to get maternity leave? Or do you know how hard it is to get unemployment or disability, if you're even lucky enough to get it? But you're telling me that you don't have a right as a sex worker? That's a huge right. I know people that have to jump through hurdles. When I was pregnant trying to work as a waitress and a bartender, I wanted to go on maternity leave and I gave up because the paperwork was so ridiculous. Trying to even get in contact with anyone was so ridiculous. I gave up. I'd rather work than sit at home with my kid and try to figure out how to get another source of income. $2,500 a month because you caught an STD willingly going to be a porn star. That's a right. What are you complaining about? Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But my point with the healthcare is that you're not allowed to get healthcare just because you're a sex worker. What right do you want in healthcare that you don't already have access to? If you need to go to the doctor, you can go to the doctor. Just as a regular 9-to-5 job, if you want to purchase private insurance, you're welcome to purchase private insurance. You want insurance through your company that you work for? I really just don't understand that whole, like, where the healthcare system needs to change for sex workers' rights. I don't get that. So if someone can explain that to me, please do so, because I'm confused by that. Yeah, Lisa, I know it's not a choice, but other people don't agree, so I'm not even going to get into that in this video. This is more just about this legalization thing and sex workers' rights. So my other topic on this was, okay, so what else I don't understand is, why does prostitution itself have to be legal? There are so many other opportunities for you to be able to work in the sex industry. The only one that's illegal is prostitution. The direct exchange of sexual acts for money. But guess what? If you want to be an adult entertainer, you are legally allowed to do so. If you would like to know how, let's see, you can be a stripper. You can be a massage therapist. I'm not saying that that's part of the sex industry, but in a lot of ways it is. You can go be a masseuse. You can work as a webcam model. You can have a private webcam show that's completely legal. You can get paid for it. You can have a sugar daddy. That's not illegal. Although it should be, it's not. You can be a porn star. What else? I'm pretty sure aromatherapy. I'm pretty sure that you can, I guess I would fall under the lines of sugar daddy, but like domination or dominatrix, submissive, relationships, things like that. You can do all of that. Do you understand that? Like, I wish there was people that, were for sex workers' rights watching, because, like, what is so hard? Like, you're allowed to do that already. Why do we have to make prostitution legal? The only part of the sex industry that is illegal, that we kind of are on we barely have hold of to criminalize the people that are trafficking these women and men. Which brings me to my next subject, the whole issue of, well, not everybody is trafficked that's in the sex industry. Okay, let's pretend that the sex industry is a real choice that's not stemmed from social, economical, educational, or anything that falls under those categories type of background. Let's just pretend that it's really a choice. That handful of people that are choosing consciously, that have no mental illness, have no sexual abuse or mental abuse in their past, that just want to be free, just want to do what they do with their body and want to go and be sex workers. Okay, fine. Let's focus on that. That small handful of people, they're not the ones that need the help from traffickers. They're not the ones that need the mental healthcare. They're not the ones that need the psychologists. They're not the ones that need the programs. They're not the ones that are asking for help. They're asking for rights. They're not asking for help. So are we going to completely disregard the other 70% or 80%, I don't know the exact statistic, of people that are forced into prostitution that don't want to be there, for this handful of people that claim that they do want to be there? If you want to be a sex worker, go do it in the ways that are already legal. If that's not good enough for you, I'm sorry. I can't find compassion in that. Because guess what? The people that are in that life, that don't want to be there, that are screaming for help, that are just hoping that they will get out one day, that little bit of hope comes from prostitution being illegal, comes from this being an atrocity. The people that are not at risk, and the people that are not marginalized, and the people that are not having to deal with the horrible consequences of this industry, are not the ones that are rooting for this to be legal. It's the ones that are claiming everything that they want is already readily available to them. But it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I need to be able to choose what I want to do with my body. Go for it. Do it. Do it the way that America already makes it legal. Nobody's stopping you. That's my whole point with this. I don't understand what the fight is for. Why is the fight? Why are your rights as a prostitute by choice more important than the rights of the people that are forced into it, than the children that are forced into it? Not even to mention the fact that once we make prostitution legal, guess what? It now becomes an attainable career. So eventually in the future, right along with doctors, lawyers, and veterinarians, your young daughters or young sons can be growing up to say, oh, hey, that's the job field that I want to be in. I don't know about anybody else. That is not the kind of society that I want to live in, where prostitution is even looked at as a form of income and employment and career. That's not okay to me. And just because it's not okay to me doesn't mean that it has to not be okay to you. What I'm saying is, I just don't understand. I don't understand where the argument is. I don't understand what more sex workers want that they already can't already get. What more do you want? Why do you have to take the little glimmer of hope from this being something that's not acceptable, trying to turn it into something that is acceptable, just so that you can have a right and be acknowledged that you are empowered to do what you want with your body? Oh, brings me right to my next point. Empowerment. The whole thing about my body, my choice, I get to do what I want with it. There's no real empowerment in that. And that, for me, is not even arguable. Like, how can you even wrap your mind around to say that you're getting empowerment and independence and self-worth from being a commodity? You're not even in control. Guess who has the power over you? I don't care if you don't have a pimp. That John that has all that money, that's dangling the money in front of your face to make you do whatever you choose to do, That's exploitation, honey. You're not in control. Society has tweaked us. Feminism, in its new tweaked way, which is not even what it's originally supposed to be anymore, has tweaked our minds to say that our ability to sell ourselves because we own our bodies in exchange for money brings us empowerment. Excuse my language, but that is some, I'm not even gonna say whatever, I don't want to offend anyone, but that's some BS. You are not in control. That is a lie straight from the devil. You are not in control of anything in your life if somebody else has control of your happiness through their money. So a lot of people stick up their nose and say, oh, well, I'm not like those other girls. I don't need a pimp. I don't need a trafficker. I would never be that stupid. What's the difference? What is the difference of a pimp controlling a girl and collecting all her money versus a trick spending all of his money on the girl, controlling her? You're not free. And that's where it comes from. It's not a choice. It's not a choice because you are... I don't even want to get into the whole it's not a choice thing. But I just would really like anybody who maybe can touch on any of the points that I'm trying to make, like to educate me or open my mind a little bit to something that maybe I'm not seeing, because to me it seems easy. No, leave it how it is. If not, if we need to move in any direction, it's a direction to criminalize this more. No, the women don't need to be criminalized. If you're a victim of trafficking, you definitely don't need to be criminalized. You're being exploited. If you're being exploited in any way, you don't need to be criminalized. But we do need to push, we need to be putting all this energy that we're trying to get it legalized to push to make the punishments harsher for the people that are purchasing, the people that are trafficking, the people that are exploiting. We're supposed to be united, especially as women. Empowerment comes from other strong women. Empowerment does not come from a man telling us how much we're worth. Oh, baby, you're worth $5,000 for a night. What kind of empowerment is this? Please let me know. And give me a reason outside of, oh, well, I'm an independent woman and I should be able to do whatever I want with my body. Girl, go ahead and do what you want with your body. But don't sit there and lie to yourself and try to lie to future generations saying that it's empowering you. You're still in control, just like all the girls and the boys that are in the lifestyle that don't want to be there. You're just as in control as they are, honey. Sorry to break it to you. I think that I don't remember what my last point was. Thank you, Michelle, for this prayer. I really appreciate it. Beautiful prayer. Sorry, guys, I was reading her prayer. Yeah, beautiful prayer. Anyways, I hope that a couple things that I said maybe made sense. I'm not sure if they did. There's only a couple people on now, but if they did make sense, I'm glad. If not, I apologize for rambling. I need to be a little bit more organized when I do these videos, so I can make sure I touch on all the points that I need to. But that's just my personal opinion. Yes, that's my point, Bobby. Like, people, I was talking to somebody yesterday about this subject, and we were having a great conversation back and forth, very respectful, but she kept bringing up the fact, like, oh, well, if girls, you know, if it was legal, girls wouldn't have to have pimps. If it was legal, they wouldn't be having to hide, you know, trying to figure out how to do healthcare, trying to, you know, hide their abortions, or whatever the argument was, or you know, trying to hide it if society just accepted it. But the thing with that is that the people that are saying that, the people that, a girl is not prostituting because, or she doesn't have a, okay, let me rewind. A girl that has a pimp or a trafficker is most likely not the one who's wishing that these rights were hers, or that this was legal. She doesn't have a pimp because she's a prostitute. She's a prostitute because she has a pimp. There's a big difference. The women that are making all these points of, oh, well, if it was this way, women wouldn't have to do this. But guess what? The women that are having to do those things are not pushing for it to be legal. If it was up to them and their choice, they wouldn't be making this choice, because they know it's not really a choice. The only people pushing that this should be a choice, that this should be okay, is the people who are already doing it the many ways that are legal. So why are you still complaining? Hold on, I'm going to read this. It says, I don't know what you're saying. I do support rights for sex workers as well as the combating of human trafficking. I have a hard time figuring out how to help both. Well, I don't think that they can go hand in hand. I think that that's just my opinion. I don't think that you can support I'm sorry. I totally forgot that you are can't hear anything. We can chat about it sometime, maybe. Let me comment. Lisa, you said if it was legal, traffickers would be protected. They are finally starting to get punishment that they deserve. Yeah, well, I don't think that they would per se be protected, because pimping and pandering has nothing really to do with the legalization of prostitution as far as like a one-on-one basis. Like, you still wouldn't be allowed to, like, you know, pimp and pander, but it would open up doors for them to make more legal ways to do it, to pimp on these girls. If it's legal, they can therefore open up a brothel and get their licensing, and that's that. Because there's no illegal activity happening. If it's legal, they can be someone's boyfriend and not get in trouble for their girlfriend, who they most likely intimidated to go ahead and say, like, hey, tell them I'm your man. Not directly collecting the money from them. They would figure something out. Like, if it's legal, if the girl's not getting in trouble for it, then it does create a trail to where the traffickers eventually have more ways to go around the whole issue, and it will be a lot harder to punish them. It's already hard to punish them now. So yeah, that's definitely another issue. There's just so many issues in my mind in regards to this topic, and it's confusing to me where the opposite opinion is coming from, or exactly what they're fighting for. So by all means, if there's like a list of like what sex workers would like as far as rights, please someone send it to me so I can understand exactly like what the point is. But like I said, I just don't, and I just don't get it. And for me personally, it just breaks my heart to even see women fighting to be a commodity. I don't get it. Like, that's like the lowest of the low that you can allow someone to do to you, is to treat you as something that's exchangeable for money, or something that's exchangeable for service or for goods. And for me, like, I thought we were progressing to the point where women were starting to move forward and empower each other, and to, you know, uplift each other, and to show, like, how can you fight and be compassionate about equal rights, and you want to be equal to men, but you're putting yourself on a lower platform in the same sentence by saying that you want sex workers' rights to be around. Like, did you want to be able to do what you want with your body as far as prostitution goes. that doesn't go, it cannot go hand in hand. Because guess what? The man has the money. The purchaser has the money. So where do you place yourself? Down here. You're not going to be equal. But yet you're fighting for equality. And again, in the same breath as you're saying, I want to be equal. I'm a woman. I deserve to be equal. I'm an equal part of this world. You're allowing yourself openly to be used as a commodity. That's contradicting. And I don't understand it at all. And Bobby said, but where is legal, they're probably charged more, so traffickers have a supply. The demand issue is a whole nother thing. Like, that's, yeah. We all know that the demand is a huge issue. But that'll be another video. I know this is getting long, guys, but I hope, like I said, that there was some points that maybe made sense to you. And maybe I just challenge you to dig a little bit deeper. Dig a little deeper before you just kind of hop on board of either side of any political view. Do it, one, with love, and two, do it with education. Like, don't just hop on because you hear one thing about it and you think, oh yeah, that sounds good, let me go advocate for this. No, you need to understand what you're fighting for, what you're marching for, what you're walking for, what you're arguing for, what you're trying to accomplish. Right is right and wrong is wrong at the end of the day. Opinions are opinions and can never be facts. But opinions and political views and division, all of that, at the end of the day, should not cause us to hate one another, and should not cause us to sit here and try to downplay, especially as women, downplay the next woman for her opinion. Any of that. Like, we need to figure out how to get the wrong out of here. So sometimes I just wish that we could put the whole, oh, my body, my choice, this is wrong, sex workers' rights is wrong, sex workers' rights is right. Like, I just wish that we could put that aside until we figure out the human trafficking issue and the child trafficking issue, and put that to the side. And then once that's figured out, then let's focus on, if there's even still anything to focus on after that, let's see if we focus on and even have an argument about sex workers' rights or the sex industry or this and that. I think that if that issue was the focus and we could tackle that, because I've never met a sex worker who's like, oh yeah, trafficking's cool, like that's what's up. Like, no. As far as that, if you dig deep, we're all on the same page. But we're so busy trying to figure out who is right and who is wrong, and who should have this right and who should have that right, that we're arguing and losing focus of what the main issue is. Let's fix the trafficking problem. Let's fix the demand problem. And then let's see if there's anyone even left trying to argue about any of this. Anyways, sorry about that rant. My last little point, I promise I'm done after this. My last little point is, like, I hear a lot of times the whole, if it's consenting adults doing these acts, that, you know, it should be fine, it should be this, and it's not harming anyone, which it is. Anyway, but that's another topic. My question to you, if anybody does feel like that, would be, would you say that in regards to any other crime? Drugs, for example. Drugs are hurting me, right? So if I want to do drugs and I'm an adult and I'm of age, I should be allowed to do drugs, right? Because it's my choice. I should be allowed to sell drugs too, because I'm an adult, and as long as it can be regulated, and as long as I'm not out here killing people or, you know, any of that sort, it should be legal, right? And if it was legal, guess what? We wouldn't have so many murders, or we wouldn't have so much, you know, so many problems. Like, we could open stores and people could just sell drugs openly and it wouldn't be an issue. if it was legal. People wouldn't have to hide. People wouldn't have to worry about it. We could give drug dealers rights. We could give drug users rights. We wouldn't have to worry about it because everyone would just be like by choice doing what they want to do because they're adults and they're allowed to do it. Even though it's illegal, even though it's harming the world, even though it's making the world a horrible place, if we legalize it, that's going to make it all better, right? The demand will go down. The demand will go down. It'll help the economy. It'll decrease the deaths. It'll help raise, or help stop people from using so much because it'll be regulated and this and that. Do you see how stupid that sounds? I'm not trying to say anyone's opinion is stupid. I'm really, really, really not. I'm very respectful of everyone's opinion. But do you hear how crazy that sounds? So I just am trying to point out that to me, when people are saying that same argument for prostitution, that's what it sounds like to me. Crazy. But maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Amy, I hope you're okay. And Autumn said sexual exploitation happens on a continuum consisting of prostitution, stripping, pornography, and is inextricable. I don't know what that word means. Sorry. Are you trying to? Was that supposed to be interchangeable? I'm not. Sorry, I'm not good with big words. With sex trafficking. Yeah. I agree. And there's so much to this video. Like, I just really wanted to get my opinion out on the sex workers thing because it was really eating me up inside. So again, I'm going to get off here. I really appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging out with me and talking and conversing with me. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out and listening. Please give me some feedback on the video, because I really want to know if I'm just all the way in left field with this whole topic, or if if anything's making sense. So yes, I would love to converse and talk a little bit more. I really, I'm really curious on both sides of the fence, like what the opinions are and where they're coming from. So please let me know. Let's have a conversation about it. I respect everybody, love everybody. I am gonna go now, and I hope everybody has a blessed day. Try to stay off of social media too much because it is going ham right now. Stay safe in this weather. Peace and love. Peace and love. I found out that this means I love you. I didn't know that till like a couple days ago. My daughter told me, or like that, whatever. But anyways, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. All right. Peace out.